Lila grew up in a small town where life moved slowly, and dreams often stayed just that, dreams. Her father, Joe, ran a tiny mechanic shop tucked away on the edge of town. It wasn't much, just a rusted sign hanging crookedly above the door and piles of car parts stacked haphazardly inside. But to Lila, it was magical. From the time she could walk, Lila had been fascinated by engines. She loved the smell of grease, the hum of power tools, and the satisfaction of hearing a rebuilt engine roar to life. While other kids played video games or went to parties, Lila spent her weekends helping her dad fix old cars. Joe taught her more than just mechanics. He taught her life lessons. It doesn't matter what something looks like on the outside, he'd say, wiping oil-stained hands on his overalls. What matters is how it works, and how much heart you put into making it better. Their life wasn't easy. Money was tight, and every job at the shop counted. But Lila didn't mind. She found beauty in the broken things they fixed together, whether it was a sputtering sedan or a lawn mower that refused to start. One day, flipping through a racing magazine she'd found in the trash, Lila's eyes widened at photos of sleek race cars speeding around tracks. "Dad," she said excitedly, "I want to race." Joe chuckled, patting her head. "You've got guts, kiddo. But racing costs money we don't have." Undeterred, Lila smiled. "Then we'll make our own car. We can do anything if we try hard enough, right?" Her father nodded, his pride shining through. Little did they know, this conversation would set them on a journey full of challenges and triumphs they'd never forget. After Lila declared her dream of racing, she and her father set out to turn their vision into reality. One weekend, while scavenging through a nearby junkyard, they stumbled upon an old, rusted car that had clearly seen better days. Its paint was chipped, its tires flat, and its engine barely recognizable under layers of grime. But Lila saw potential where others saw trash. "This is it," she said excitedly, running her hand along the dented hood. "We can make this work." Joe nodded thoughtfully, inspecting the frame. "It'll take some effort, but yeah, we can do it." For weeks, father and daughter worked tirelessly in their garage. They stripped the car down to its bones, replacing parts with salvaged pieces from other vehicles. Broken headlights were swapped out with spares. Mismatched doors were sanded and repainted, and the engine, a patchwork of refurbished components, was carefully rebuilt piece by piece. Every evening after school, Lila joined her father in the shop. Together, they brainstormed solutions to problems, like how to improve speed without spending money on high-tech upgrades. Joe taught her tricks he'd learned over decades of fixing cars, showing her how to balance power and efficiency using creativity instead of cash. One night, as they worked late under dim lighting, Lila grew frustrated when the carburetor refused to fit properly. "Why does everything have to be so hard?" she muttered, slamming a wrench onto the workbench. Joe placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "It's hard because it's worth doing right. If it were easy, everyone would do it." His words stuck with her. From then on, whenever she felt discouraged, she reminded herself why she started, to prove that passion could overcome obstacles. Slowly but surely, the car began taking shape. What was once a heap of scrap metal transformed into something functional and surprisingly fast. Late-night test drives became their secret ritual. Under the cover of darkness, Lila sped down deserted country roads, testing the car's limits and fine-tuning its performance. Each run brought new confidence, not just in the car, but in herself. Still, doubts lingered. The car wasn't perfect. Its patched-together appearance drew stares whenever they drove it around town. Some neighbors shook their heads pityingly, assuming it would break down any day. Others laughed openly, calling it a waste of time. But Lila didn't care. To her, the car represented more than just transportation. It symbolized resilience, teamwork, and the power of believing in yourself. Every dent, scratch, and mismatched part told a story of perseverance. By the time race registration came around, the car was ready, or as ready as it could be. It wasn't sleek or polished like the ones advertised in magazines, but it ran smoothly and handled turns with surprising agility. As Lila stood beside her creation, she felt a surge of pride. This wasn't just a junkyard car anymore. It was proof that determination could breathe life into even the most broken things. As race day approached, excitement buzzed through the small town. Flyers plastered on lampposts advertised the event, promising thrilling races and fierce competition. Lila knew she wasn't entering to win trophies or fame. She just wanted to prove that her hard work mattered. But not everyone shared her determination or her optimism. Word spread quickly about the junkyard racer. Classmates whispered behind her back at school, calling her car names like Rust Bucket and Rolling Trash Heap. Even teachers raised eyebrows when Lila mentioned her plans. "Are you sure this is a good idea?" one asked skeptically. At the garage, Lila overheard customers mocking her too. "That piece of junk will fall apart before it even crosses the starting line," one man joked loudly, earning laughs from others nearby. Lila clenched her fists but forced herself to stay calm. She remembered her father's advice: let your actions speak louder than their words. Still, the constant ridicule stung. Some nights, lying awake in bed, she wondered if they were right. Was her dream foolish? Could a patched-up car really compete against sleek machines built for speed? Her father noticed her doubt creeping in. One evening, as they worked late under the flickering shop lights, he stopped what he was doing and looked her in the eye. "Lila," he said firmly, "you didn't build this car to impress anyone. You built it because you believed in yourself and in us. Don't let fear or mockery take that away from you." His words reignited her resolve. The next morning, Lila woke up ready to face whatever came her way. People wanted to laugh, so be it. She'd show them that true strength wasn't about appearances. It was about heart. On the day of registration, Lila pulled up to the track in her battered car. Spectators gathered around, pointing and snickering. A group of racers leaned against their shiny vehicles, smirking as she stepped out wearing an old racing helmet her dad had refurbished for her. "Hey, junkyard girl," one called out. "Need help pushing that thing across the finish line?" Lila smiled sweetly. "Thanks, but I think we'll manage just fine." Inside, though, her stomach churned. This was harder than she'd imagined. Yet, as she climbed into the driver's seat and gripped the steering wheel, something shifted. The laughter faded into background noise, replaced by the steady rhythm of her breathing. She glanced at her father standing proudly by the sidelines, his thumbs up giving her courage. No matter what happened today, she reminded herself, she'd already won. She turned a pile of scrap metal into a functioning race car, all while ignoring those who doubted her. Now all she had to do was drive. The morning of the race was electric with anticipation. The air buzzed with the roar of engines, the scent of burning rubber, and the chatter of excited spectators crowding the sidelines. Lila stood beside her car, adjusting her gloves and taking deep breaths to steady her nerves. Around her, sleek sports cars gleamed in the sunlight, pristine machines that looked like they belonged on magazine covers. Her own vehicle, dented and patched together, seemed out of place among them. Spectators pointed and laughed as she walked around her car, making last-minute checks. "Look at that thing!" one man shouted, earning chuckles from those nearby. "It's a miracle it even made it here." Lila ignored the comments, focusing instead on the task ahead. She climbed into the driver's seat, feeling the familiar grooves of the steering wheel beneath her hands. Closing her eyes for a moment, she thought about all the late nights spent rebuilding the engine, all the test drives that ended in minor failures but taught her something new each time. This wasn't just a race. It was proof of everything she'd worked for. The announcer's voice boomed over the loudspeakers, calling the drivers to their starting positions. Lila lined up alongside competitors whose cars cost more than her family's entire annual income. As the flag dropped, engines roared to life, and the pack surged forward. From the very beginning, Lila knew she had to play smart. Her car couldn't match the raw power of the others, but it was nimble and responsive thanks to her father's careful tuning. While the expensive sports cars jostled for position, Lila stayed calm, weaving through gaps and sticking close to the inside of turns. By the second lap, murmurs rippled through the crowd. "Wait, is that the junkyard car keeping up?" someone asked incredulously. Indeed, Lila was holding her own. Her strategy paid off as some racers pushed too hard, spinning out or overheating their engines. Meanwhile, her car remained steady, its patched-together parts humming along like clockwork. On the final lap, the lead changed hands multiple times. Two high-end racers battled fiercely for first place, neither noticing Lila inching closer behind them. With perfect timing, she accelerated out of the last turn, passing both cars in a blur of speed and determination. When she crossed the finish line, the crowd erupted, not in laughter this time, but in stunned applause. Spectators stared in disbelief as Lila stepped out of her car, removing her helmet to reveal a triumphant smile. Her father rushed over, tears streaming down his face as he hugged her tightly. "I knew you could do it," he whispered. Reporters swarmed around her, asking how she'd managed such an incredible feat. Lila simply shrugged. "It's not about the car. It's about believing in yourself and working hard. My dad and I proved that sometimes what looks like junk can surprise you." As the other racers approached to congratulate her, many admitted they'd underestimated her. One competitor shook her hand, saying, "You earned this win. That car might look like scrap, but it runs like a dream." For Lila, the victory wasn't just personal. It was a statement. She'd silenced the doubters and shown the world that true strength comes from perseverance, creativity, and heart. And as she stood there basking in the cheers, she realized this was only the beginning. The aftermath of the race was nothing short of extraordinary. What started as a local event quickly gained national attention when videos of Lila's jaw-dropping performance went viral online. News outlets dubbed her the Junkyard Racer, celebrating not just her victory but the inspiring story behind it. Reporters flocked to her father's garage, eager to learn more about the girl who turned a pile of scrap metal into a winning machine. Interviews poured in, and Lila found herself sharing her journey with audiences far beyond her small town. She spoke candidly about the challenges she faced, the ridicule, the doubts, and the countless hours spent rebuilding her car. But she also emphasized the lessons she learned along the way: the importance of resilience, teamwork, and believing in yourself even when no one else does. "I didn't do this alone," she told one interviewer, gesturing to her father, who stood proudly beside her. "My dad taught me that value isn't measured by how something looks on the outside. It's about what you put into it. He believed in me when I didn't believe in myself, and that made all the difference." Her words resonated deeply, especially with young viewers who saw themselves in her story. Kids from across the country began sending messages of gratitude, saying they felt inspired to chase their own dreams despite obstacles. Parents praised Lila for being a role model, showing children that creativity and hard work can overcome any limitation. Even former bullies reached out, apologizing for their harsh words and admitting they'd misjudged her. One classmate wrote, "I used to laugh at your car, but now I realize it wasn't the car that mattered. It was you. You're proof that we should never judge someone based on appearances." Lila's success also brought unexpected opportunities. Sponsors approached her, offering deals to fund future races. Mechanics invited her to speak at trade shows, eager to hear how she transformed a junkyard car into a champion. Schools asked her to give motivational talks, hoping her story would inspire students to pursue STEM careers. But through it all, Lila remained humble. She declined lucrative offers that felt disingenuous, choosing instead to stay true to her roots. Her father reminded her often, "Success isn't about fame or money. It's about using your gifts to help others." Together, they launched a program called Racing Roots, aimed at teaching underprivileged kids basic mechanics and problem-solving skills. Using funds raised from donations and sponsorships, they converted part of their garage into a workshop where students could tinker with engines, build go-karts, and learn the value of hands-on work. One Saturday morning, as Lila watched a group of teenagers assemble a makeshift cart, she smiled at the sight of their determination. Some struggled with tools while others argued over designs, but every single one of them refused to give up. It reminded her of herself, back when she first started working on her junkyard car. "Keep going," she encouraged them. "It doesn't have to be perfect. Just make it yours." Her efforts earned widespread praise, cementing her legacy as more than just a racer. She was a symbol of hope and possibility. People admired not only her skill but also her willingness to lift others up. As weeks turned into months, Lila's bond with her father grew stronger than ever. They celebrated their victories together, not just the trophies or headlines, but the lives they touched along the way. Their little garage, once dismissed as insignificant, became a beacon of inspiration for their community. For Lila, the greatest reward wasn't the applause or accolades. It was knowing she'd made a difference. By proving that passion and perseverance could outshine wealth and resources, she gave others permission to dream bigger and bolder. As time passed, Lila's life continued to evolve in exciting and meaningful ways. The victories she achieved weren't just personal. They sparked a movement that rippled through her community and beyond. Her story became a testament to the power of grit, creativity, and heart, inspiring countless individuals to embrace their own potential. Lila didn't stop racing after her first win. Instead, she set her sights higher, entering regional competitions and eventually qualifying for professional circuits. Though the stakes were greater and the competition fiercer, she approached every race with the same mindset. It's not about the car. It's about the effort you put into it. Her junkyard roots remained a core part of her identity, even as sleeker vehicles replaced her original creation. But no matter how far she traveled or how many trophies lined her shelves, Lila never forgot where she came from. Every weekend, she returned to her father's garage to teach kids in the Racing Roots program. Watching them experiment, fail, and try again filled her with pride. She often reminded them, failure isn't the end. It's just another step toward success. Her father, Joe, stood by her side as always, sharing wisdom and cheering her on. Together, they expanded their workshop, adding more tools and resources thanks to donations from supporters who believed in their mission. The once modest mechanic shop transformed into a hub of innovation and learning, a place where dreams took shape under grease-streaked hands. One evening, as Lila sat with her father outside the garage, watching the sunset paint the sky orange and pink, she reflected on how far they'd come. "Do you remember when we found that old car in the junkyard?" she asked, smiling softly. Joe chuckled, leaning back in his chair. "How could I forget? You said it was perfect, even though it looked like it had been through a war." "It was perfect," Lila replied, laughing. "Not because of what it was, but because of what we made it." Her words captured the essence of their journey. Value lies not in appearances but in effort, passion, and heart. Their legacy wasn't just about winning races. It was about proving that anyone, regardless of background or resources, could achieve greatness with determination and teamwork. Looking ahead, Lila dreamed of bigger goals. She envisioned expanding racing routes nationwide, creating opportunities for kids everywhere to explore mechanics and engineering. She also hoped to design eco-friendly race cars, combining her love for speed with a commitment to sustainability. For now, though, she focused on the present, on teaching, racing, and continuing to inspire others. Her story served as a reminder that true strength comes not from avoiding challenges but from embracing them head-on. And so, surrounded by gratitude and purpose, Lila looked forward to each new day, ready to keep building, racing, and showing the world that anything is possible if you believe in yourself. Lila's story is a powerful reminder that greatness isn't defined by what you have. It's defined by what you do with what you've got. She didn't start with fancy tools, expensive parts, or endless resources. All she had was an old junkyard car, her father's guidance, and an unshakable belief in herself. Yet, against all odds, she turned those humble beginnings into something extraordinary. Her journey teaches us that success doesn't come from perfection. It comes from persistence. It's not about waiting for the right moment or the perfect circumstances. It's about taking action, even when things seem impossible. Lila proved that creativity, hard work, and heart can overcome any obstacle, and so can you. Think about your own dreams for a moment. Have you been holding back because you don't think you have enough? Maybe you feel like your idea isn't polished enough, your skills aren't advanced enough, or your resources are too limited. Let Lila's story remind you that none of that matters. What truly matters is the courage to start, and the determination to keep going, no matter how tough the road gets. When Lila crossed that finish line, she inspired people she'd never met. Kids dreaming of careers in mechanics, students doubting their abilities, and adults rediscovering their own passions. When you chase your dreams with authenticity and grit, you inspire others to do the same. You never know whose life might change just by watching you take bold steps toward your goals. Lila didn't let her lack of resources stop her. Instead, she used her creativity to turn scraps into speed. If you're facing challenges, ask yourself, how can I use what I already have in new ways? Innovation often comes from constraints, not abundance. Every late night Lila spent fixing her car paid off on race day. Success isn't instant, it's built step by step, through consistent effort. Whether it's learning a skill, building a project, or pursuing a goal, remember that every small step brings you closer to victory. People laughed at Lila's car and doubted her chances, but she silenced them with her performance. Don't let negativity hold you back. Focus on your vision, trust your abilities, and let your actions speak louder than anyone's criticism. If Lila's story resonates with you, and I hope it does, I challenge you to take action today. What's one thing you've been putting off because it feels too big or scary? Write it down, break it into smaller tasks, and commit to doing just one of them today. Progress begins with a single step. Like Lila leaned on her father for advice and encouragement, find your own support system. Whether it's friends, family, mentors, or online communities, surround yourself with people who believe in you and will cheer you on. Remember, failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of the process. Every mistake Lila made while rebuilding her car taught her something valuable. Treat setbacks as lessons, not roadblocks. Stories like Lila's remind us that ordinary people can achieve extraordinary things. Share your journey, whether it's on social media, in conversations, or through creative projects. Your experience might be the inspiration someone else needs to start chasing their dreams. Lila didn't stop at winning races. She used her success to help others through the Racing Roots program. Think about how you can give back to your community or mentor others who look up to you. Heroes don't wait for permission, they create their own opportunities. Just like Lila transformed a junkyard car into a champion, you have the power to transform your ideas, talents, and passions into something incredible. So here's my call to action for you. Start small, fix something broken, write a paragraph, sketch a design, or practice a skill. Dream bigger, imagine where these small steps could lead if you kept pushing forward. Spread hope, tell your story, encourage others, and show the world that value isn't measured by appearances but by effort and heart. Remember, you don't need shiny tools, perfect conditions, or unlimited resources to succeed. All you need is the willingness to try and the resilience to keep going when things get tough. Will you take that first step today? Will you choose to believe in yourself just as Lila did? Because somewhere out there, someone is waiting to see what you can do, and they're rooting for you to prove them right.